Welcome to another board game review with theplayersaid.com. I'm Grant.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Alexander.
Yeah, tonight we had a real. I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. We played a new game called Nemo's War from Victory Point Games. If you can see the box there, amazing art by Ian O'Toole. This is a second edition game, reprinted with deluxe components. You can see the board's really nice. There's some wooden bits where there used to be cardboard pieces, gems, and etc. It's a really nice looking game designed by Chris Taylor. We got this game this week and immediately decided we wanted to give it a spin. So this game is designed as a solitaire game, but you can play a variant where you can play 2 to 4 players cooperatively. You can also do a semi-cooperative version. You guys may not realize this, but you can steal the captain.
Yeah, I read that in the rules.
And you can gain points, and you kind of score your own
I have
points.
a feeling it would have been stolen early in the game.
It would have been a little bit different. Mutiny. But this game is a cooperative game. It's one of those games where the turn sequence is very structured, and you simply follow that turn sequence by drawing an event, following the instructions on the card, rolling some dice to then place some artificial intelligence ships out in the world that are then going to attack you or vex you, and then you take certain numbers of actions that you get from rolling the dice. As every Victory Point games that I've ever played that has action points, Alexander, how many action points?
One. They're
one or two.
Extremely tight.
Just so hard to get them.
That's what makes them awesome, though.
Well, it makes it challenging.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hallmark of a good cooperative game is it easy.
And especially a good solo game.
Right.
It better be hard. It better be
challenging.
You know, if you're playing a co-op and you just walk through it, that's not fun.
It's boring.
That's what are we doing? We're not exercising our brains. We're not doing.
Yeah.
We're just like do a puzzle, right?
Well, there has to be a crisis in these kind of games. There has to be a point where you're teetering on the edge of victory or defeat, and you have to risk some stuff. And we did a lot of risking.
Yeah.
And most of it,
a lot.
And there's hope. There's hope that we can
Yes.
I felt like we did really well, and we still lost. We were defeated.
Yes.
We won,
but we didn't. We survived.
We made it to the end.
We had fun by ourselves.
In
Right?
defeat.
Nobody else knew about it, but we had fun by ourselves.
Right. So, Tim, what were some things that you liked about the game?
Okay, so I'm usually a big fan with co-ops, and some of the criteria that I like co-ops is, or some of the things that turn me off to co-ops is being pigeonholed as a player. I'm stuck in one role. I'm doing the same thing the entire game. Over and again. The thing I really like about this is we're all on the same team, for one, but we did every action you could think of. We weren't just fighting the whole time. We weren't just stuck in one location the whole time. We moved around the board. We fought different things. We upgraded things. So I really like the fact that we weren't just stuck in one area and doing the same thing over and over. It's a different spin on co-ops, meaning that we're all on the same team, and where we go, everybody goes, and we make those choices. So I really like that part of the game.
Mm-hmm. Alexander, what did you like?
I love the story element of this game, and I know that's one of the big selling points of this game. If you like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Journey to the Center of the Earth, Around the World in 80 Days, all those kind of adventure stories, this is that in a board game form. The cards have all of the rich text, which you can spend 3 hours just reading those, which is part of the reason why the game's quite long, I feel. But it tells a story. You're sailing around doing your stuff, and then the enemy ships kind of get bigger and bigger,
scarier.
There's more of them, and you fail a roll here, and your ship's got a hole in the side, and you're trying to plug that, so to speak, and then there's more ships coming at you. It just builds and grows organically over time as the game throws more and more at you, which I really enjoyed in the journey of this game.
Yeah. The progression of the ships was nice too. We just happened to get some of the weaker ships at the beginning. Alex was doing a wonderful job of getting us garbage ships. But halfway through the game, we started getting the heavier ships, the warships, and we were like, how are we going to do this? And
they're really powerful.
They are. And
they get to shoot first. So you're gonna, unless you have the, what was it called, the magnetic torpedoes,
Yeah, the magnetic
Yeah,
mines. or
magnetic
something.
mines.
Magnetic
So they get to shoot first. If they hit you, they do somewhere between 1 and 4 hits,
Yeah.
and it just, I feel like that was killing us
And
there
then
for
you've
a
got to
second.
attack back, and you've got less to risk and
Yeah.
put in there. You've got less
It's rough.
modifiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that thoroughly, though, and you know, because then it made the upgrades to the Nautilus. Do we spend salvage and valuable action points to get the magnetic mine so that we can do the attacking? And there's a whole level of extra stuff outside of just what action should I do? Because
Yeah.
every action implies or like has an effect on the other actions that you may or can't or will do, and I think that's really fun. There's just everything works together. I feel quite well in this game.
And the theme is just like there to me.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can challenge your crew to be better during a test and get an extra bonus, but if you fail that test, your crew gets screwed, right?
Yeah. They get
So
killed. Or,
they get killed, or they push
bleeding.
themselves over the edge and they
Yeah.
can't do it anymore. So the theme and the reasons why you do stuff is really, really cool in this game, I think.
couple parts that I really enjoyed. These motive. So at the beginning of the game, you get to choose what's called Nemo's motive. There are 4 of these tiles. And what these do is they set the standard by which you're measuring victory or defeat at the end of the game. That the 4 options are exploring, anti-imperialism, which is what we chose.
Yeah.
Science.
You're supposed to do explore, by the way, in your first game. Science and
First
war.
game.
War was the other one.
Yeah.
And each of these categories, you have scoring categories, and that's whatever motive you choose is what determines how you're going to score. I think that's a neat little mechanic.
It is.
For instance, one of the things that we really tried to focus on was discovering science, liberating colonies from the imperialist pig dogs, and what was the other thing? Wonder scene.
Wonders.
That helped us. So those things scored us more points than, say, sinking a battleship. Sinking a battleship actually gave us
No point.
almost no points,
Yeah,
except
nothing.
for on this
Yeah.
column.
It could contribute to your total tonnage sum.
Right. So I like that. I think that adds variability and replayability, because you can literally play this game 3 or 4 times each motive, and it's going to be a different game. And then you try another motive.
And I imagine that changes significantly how your game goes.
And what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and I love that. I love a
Yeah.
game that it's the same game, but you have to play it in a completely different way, and it scores differently. And I'm sure there are other games out there that do it. I just can't think any off the top of my head. But I really enjoyed. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is the goal, but it's not just like do one thing. It's these 3 things are better, and these 3 things are slightly not as good. You'll still score for them. But
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool as well. I really enjoyed that.
So most of our points came, I think, from our 2 areas that we really
Yeah.
were good at. The liberation and the sinking of the cargo ships or tanker ships. So I think that was neat. Really liked that because, once again, it adds variability. The other thing I really liked was this ship resources track. So what you're doing is you're tracking Nemo's sanity, right? His sanity, basically.
Yeah, his determination.
His determination.
Of everything.
Your crew's health, and then your hull's condition. And you use those to kind of risk to get dice roll modifiers for completing tasks.
Yeah.
And if you make the task, if you are successful, while you risked it, you didn't lose anything. If you
Right.
failed, you lost.
Yeah, you go down a step.
Yeah, and it was bad. It was scary.
Eventually, you start losing victory points as
Yep.
you go too far down on those tracks, and the modifiers you gain for the hull and the
just
crew
good.
get worse. So instead of having a +3 at the top of the track, you're on a +1 down the bottom of the track.
Yeah.
Except for Nemo, he's the inverse of that.
He
'Cause
gets better as he gets more.
closer to getting broken. His determination
Yeah.
and his craziness
Stiffens,
comes out,
yeah.
and he's getting a better modifier. So
Yeah.
there's that. So you're risking that of keep him on the brink of sanity to get those cool modifiers.
Yeah.
that's fun too.
So really a lot of great elements. I think this game, if we could play it 3 or 4, maybe 5 times, each play is going to be different. We're going to experience a different thing, probably learn more things about it, and have different outcomes. We failed. We were defeated.
We
By
Yeah,
quite
by quite a bit.
We had 168. you have to have 185 to even be on the scoreboard,
Right.
and that score is
Failed.
failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad.
So like, we didn't even fail. We got sank.
It said we slipped into the ocean and like no one ever heard of us again.
We were a bunch of hippies going on a road trip
It was a bad
and
time.
just exploring the outer realm, and nobody ever
They didn't
heard of
care.
us. Didn't care that we ever were there.
So interesting game, but this is a challenge. I would like to play this again because I think now I understand the scoring conditions, and it would be better to just try that out.
So I loved this game. I thought this game was
Yeah.
fantastic, but playing this again, I'm not going to play it co-op. This to me is not
It's
a co-op
solo,
game.
yeah.
This is a solo game. The co-op was fun doing it with you guys, but it took 3 times as long because we were
Yeah.
arguing about everything, which is what a co-op should do, and that's fine. But like, I don't know. If I play, that's why I enjoy solo games, is because if it takes 8 hours, it takes 8 hours. I just enjoy the story.
Well, because you
the
can
pressure
play-
of someone's got
Yeah.
to leave.
Yeah,
just
you can
kinda
play
like
for
going
2 or
on
3
the-
hours
yeah.
and then put it away and leave it on the table.
And that's where the game shines.
Mhm.
If you have enough time to just get really deep into it
Yeah.
and do that, that's something that I would do in the future.
But I do like how they implemented the co-op.
Yeah, it's
I think it's cool how they did it.
I got the same feeling, I think, from probably a solitaire game, just a little longer.
yeah,
I think.
and that's
Still fun.
and you could cut the time down if you wanted to just kind of blow through it solitaire.
Right.
You could do that fairly quickly just by crunching.
Well, not reading the cards thoroughly would probably save you quite a bit of time.
Right. You lose
So-
the story, but the game itself is cool even without the story.
It is.
too.
Yeah.
So, Alexander, give me one thing you maybe didn't like or wanted to see improved or see differently.
That's maybe the co-op roll cards. This is the only thing. It didn't really bug me that much, but it seemed like these were kind of arbitrary.
Yeah.
Like it was like I was the tactical officer. I'm in charge of doing the enemy rolls.
Right.
It was like, oh, okay.
But hey, you did a
Yeah.
great job because we
I rolled
didn't get
high
hit a
every
ton.
time.
Well, until the end of the game when we kept getting crushed. But
But
yeah, that's an odd.
But they got to make something to make it playable with multiple
To make it
people, and
co-op.
so one person not just sat over there doing nothing. It's Billy no mates. So that's sorry.
Yeah.
That's outside of that. I don't know if there's anything with the game that I didn't like. I really enjoyed everything about this. I've had a great time playing it.
Okay.
Very difficult. That's what I like.
Yeah. Tim, something you maybe would like to see different.
The length is long. It's pretty long,
About
but
30 minutes too long, I felt like. Maybe.
the dice again. A lot of things depend on dice rolling.
Yeah.
And everything from tests for adventures, for any action you do, you have to roll dice. I must say that as the worst dice roller in the group,
You did.
I did great tonight.
Tonight was your night.
I did awesome tonight.
If this was bowling, you would have gotten a 300 tonight.
I did quite well for myself, but I just wish there was something that could be done that would help out with the randomness of the dice rolling.
The only counter I would have to that is with the resource risking,
Yeah.
you really are able to mitigate that randomness factor.
Or at least
There-
try.
there were times we had +5,
Yeah.
+6.
Yeah.
Now we had to spend a lot of resources or risk a lot of resources, but a lot of games don't have that. A lot of games it's like the roll is a 9 and
Yeah.
you don't get many bonuses. So,
Right.
but yeah, a lot determined by a random dice roll.
And even how many actions you take are dependent on dice roll, and that's even changed throughout the game because later on you get 3 dice and then you get to choose between the
And
two.
that was cool.
That was
That
special,
was
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. So that was okay, but I just wish there was something that has come along now that we could do other than dice rolling.
Yeah.
That's all. But other than that, I really like the game.
My one complaint, and it's not really a complaint, I feel like I'm stretching to find something to say. The rule book, even though I read it and we watched a couple of videos, there were a couple parts that I just felt were not clear. Sometimes they use terminology that just to me is confusing. For instance, available treasure token. We were confused by the crystals,
Gems.
the gems. And the treasure tokens at first, then we finally figured it out. And that's probably more that we're morons. But, that's something And actually, the rule book's very good. It has a lot of pictures,
Yeah.
a lot of examples. We were kind of joking. One of the pictures in the rule book during the scoring phase shows this, what we believe is a very unrealistic example of scoring
A plethora of
the most difficult
yellow
ships.
and orange and
Warships.
red warships that are displayed.
Glorious.
And maybe we could do that. What does the war ability give you? Does it give you like bonuses to attacks
Probably.
or something?
So
So maybe war.
it's +2 for each warship in the
Yeah,
display.
but do you get bonuses to attack? I guess is what I'm
you
saying.
might
No,
start with the torpedoes.
You
or
start with
something.
the periscope.
which didn't make that huge of a difference.
That was
Plus
fun. I
one.
like that thing. It kept the notoriety down.
Anyway, that's probably my one complaint is the rule book just needed a couple of tweaks here and there. But this is a second edition game
Yeah.
of a game released several years ago. I think a really great implementation of a very cool system and a very cool mechanic. A very cool set of mechanics, I think. There's a lot of standard stuff in solitaire games, but I really like some of this stuff. Really, really neat.
And the production value is off the charts.
Yeah,
I
it's
really,
really good.
really thought it was a beautiful game.
The box alone,
You
to me, a color scheme of green and blue is always very pleasing and appealing. This is beautiful.
Yeah, the box is nice.
And the art's awesome. Ian O'Toole, amazing. Really great job.
And everything's on the board. If you need to know how to do something during the round,
There's a chart, there's a table.
it's on the board somewhere.
And I like that. That's very important in solitaire games. We talk about that a lot in the solitaire war games we play. If I'm having to dive through that rule book, it's taken away from enjoyment of playing. So this is very well implemented. So with that, I think our recommendation on this would be
Big old thumbs up. Get this game.
get this
a fantastic game.
Tim.
It's a really good game. I like to change the different style of co-op that it is. It changes from other co-ops, and so I like it. It may be just a bit too long for me
Yeah.
for what it is, but I like it.
Yeah, great game. I think this will be a better solitaire game than co-op. But it's great that they had this co-op.
Yeah.
I was glad because I
We
wanted
got
to
to
try
enjoy it
together.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was fun. So that's our comments on, once again, Nemo's War from Victory Point Games. Look for other videos, reviews, and written information about board games on our website. And we'll talk to you later. Thanks.